Hello, all. Welcome to yet another new day. And let us meet another interesting personality from the annals of Indian history under the stories from Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav series by Mommy Show Musings. The moment I say Maratha Empire, what do you remember? For most of the history buffs like me, I start picturing Shivaji Maharaj and I start expecting to hear some story or some anecdote about Shivaji Maharaj. Even for the people who are not history fans, they associate Maratha Empire with Shivaji Maharaj. But what if I ask you one more question, saying like, who is the next popular person in Maratha Empire after Shivaji Maharaj? Will you guys be able to give me any answer? Even an avid history fan like me, I'm not able to give any answer for that. Only my research had led to stumble across this interesting personality about whom our Indian history has conveniently forgotten. So come, my dear friends, let us go back to 16th century in the Indian history and meet this interesting personality. What if I tell you that the person whom I'm going to introduce you is a queen from Maratha Empire and her name is Tarabai Bhosale. I can see some thinking wheels going on at the back of your mind saying, I never heard this name. Who is this Tarabai Bhosale? How has she become the queen of Maratha Empire? When did she become the queen of Maratha Empire? And all these questions, isn't it? Just keep all those questions to a side and hear this story from about Tarabai. Tarabai Bhosale is the daughter-in-law of Shivaji Maharaj. Yeah, yes, my dear friends. She is the daughter-in-law of Shivaji Maharaj. We all know that Shivaji Maharaj had two sons. I hope you remember that from your history books. The first son is Sambhaji Bhosale, whom Aurangazeb has captured or after Shivaji's death and stuff like that. And the second son is Rajaram Bhosale, which Shivaji Maharaj got through his second wife. And remember, friends, this is the 16th century we're talking about, where most of the marriages are being done mainly to forge the political alliances or to conquer a particular region or a certain set of people, creed of people. And in that process itself, Shivaji Maharaj has decided to marry Rajaram Bhosale to Tarabai, who is the offspring of Shivaji Maharaj's own Senapati, Habirrao Mohite. Habirrao Mohite is the person who actually is responsible for all the Kolhapur area of the current Maharashtra. Okay, and Kolhapur is a really crucial area for to enter into either Konkan or into Deccan regions in the southern part of India. And so Shivaji Maharaj and his army major Senapati Habir Rao wanted to have a very guarded, integrated Maratha Empire, and since they wanted to fortify the Kolhapur fort and also strengthen the Maratha army or battalions in that area, they decided that if Tarabai gets married to Rajaram Bhosale, then it will be beneficial to both the parties. So that is how Tarabai got married to Rajaram Bhosale. And remember, my dear friends, she got married at a very tender age. Some historians say that she got married as early as 6 years. And some historians say that she got married at the age of 8 years. But whatever may be the age discrepancies, the year which we know from the history books is that she got married in 1682. Post that, she moved to Raigad Fort in under Shivaji Maharaj's palace. After Shivaji Maharaj's death, Aurangazeb tried attacking Raigad Fort and captured Shambhaji Maharaj. Before even we get into that part of it, let me take a little back step and talk about little bit more about Tarabai. We all remember that Tarabai got married at 8 years of age, right? So even before she got married, because she is the daughter of the Senapati, and she's little pampered child who has her own expression of will, and she's fiercely independent. She got trained under all the military skills like sword fighting, um, horse riding, then bow and archery, everything. Okay. And then when she moved to Raigad Fort also, she started practicing all these things, and she was a very keen observer of how the political decisions are being made in the Raigad Fort. After Shivaji Maharaj's death, Aurangazeb was trying to come into power in the in the Delhi Sultanate at that point of time, and to establish and fortify his powers and fulfill his long cherished dream of capturing Deccan and Konkan. Aurangazeb started attacking Maratha Empire because he knew that the great warrior of Maratha Empire is no longer there. So he attacked Raigad Fort from all the different directions and captured Raigad Fort. Along with it, he captured Shambhaji Maharaj too and taken him to Delhi. The Shivaji Maharaj is a very good, not only a very good warrior, but he also has a lot of foresight, and he knows how what things needs to be done. So he has given advice to his ministers at that point, even before his death itself, in case if Aurangzeb comes to attack Raigad Fort, Shambhaji Maharaj is the person who should coordinate all the fights against Aurangzeb. And his second son, Rajaram Bhosale, should move down to his Kolhapur port, that Panhala port in the Kolhapur area. So, based on his decision, the moment Aurangzeb started attacking Raigad Fort, our Rajaram Bhosale, along with his three wives, moved away from Raigad Fort. Then the moment he moved from Raigad Fort, he came down to Panhala, and Panhala is obviously Kolhapur and Raigad are quite nearby, right? So at Panhala, he left all his three wives and his children, and he, along with his council of ministers and some warriors, moved all the way from Panhala to Jinji. Jinji is a place in Tamil Nadu near Chennai. And you can see all the green areas which are there in the map are under Maratha control at that point of time. Shivaji Maharaj, with his foresight, realized that in the persons who rule Deccan, who rule Konkan, are the ones who will become the kings of Indian Empire at any great Indian Empire at any point of time. So he is very adamant that he shouldn't let Aurangzeb or any Mughal kings come down to south. So that is the reason why he had gone ahead and occupied the strategic locations in South India, like be it Velur Port, be it Jinji Port, be it Tanjore Port, or be it the Ballari Fort. Everything he had occupied, and he set up his own Maratha um, rule in these strategic locations. And that is the time when Golconda Kuli Qutub Shahs have already fallen down in front of the Mughal Empire, and they started paying their taxes, and they started getting under the Mughal rule. And our hero Rajaram Bhosale moved all the way from Panhala to Jinji, and he was there almost till 1700s or more than that. And that is the time when Tarabai Bhosale was in Panhala fort, and that is the time when she got her first baby, Shivaji, and he was named Shivaji too. Even though she's there in Panhala fort, she never kept quiet. Along with the other part of the council of ministers, she started ruling the Maratha Empire, and she started revolting against Aurangzeb and making his life a real hell. She kept on attacking Aurangzeb at different forts, and she kept on occupying them and all this stuff. But again, she is doing all this on behalf of Rajaram Bhosale. Excuse me. But unfortunately, Rajaram Bhosale passed away in 1700s. And she's just a small widow of around 24-25 years age at that point of time. The moment this news reached Aurangzeb, Aurangzeb was very happy because he felt a widow with a small child can be easily captured. She's like a cat in a room. I can immediately capture her and I can throw her out of the Maratha Empire, and the entire Maratha Empire will be mine. And he was known to have told to most of his commanders that now capturing different forts in Maratha Empire, including the Panhala fort in Kolhapur, is a cakewalk for him. But here comes a twist, my dear friends. It was never a cakewalk from Aurangzeb. Who's the person who stopped Aurangzeb? It's none other than Tarabai. Despite being told us that she's a girl and she's being left out by her husband during the exile and all the other stuff, she's one person who managed the Maratha Empire and gave a strong defense to Aurangzeb. She has given such a strong opposition to Aurangzeb that she made Aurangzeb's life a hell. He left Delhi fort and was struggling in the in the current Maharashtra region to capture the entire Maratha Empire as well as have a foothold in Deccan for almost 15 to 20 years. Isn't it amazing? After, then, after Aurangzeb's death, she started, expanding her entire Maratha Empire. As per the historians' record, Maratha Empire has spread its wings as far as Peshawar in the current Afghanistan to down Tanjavur in the South India. You can see that the entire most of the India and subcontinent is being occupied by the Maratha Empire at that point of time. She and remember this, she's not only just a warrior queen here, she's also a queen of hearts, people. All the people should adore her and worship her like their own mother because she knows how to get the love and affection, how to get the respect. Because of all these things, and the best part is she always says that I am always a learner. She never hesitated to learn from even from Aurangzeb and his army battalions, nor even from the common man. The moment a person says that I'm open for learning, everybody will start appreciating her, even in those old days, isn't it? So they started appreciating her and they started loving her more and more. And she ensured that despite all among the civil war that is happening at that point of time, the continuous fights with Aurangzeb, the Britishers troubling her, she ensured that the people in Maratha Empire had a better life when compared to the earlier days. And she was asking, she was taking away all the men folk from the village for the fighting, be it be peasants, farmers, blacksmiths, everybody. But still, she ensured that the women folk in the villages are being taken care of and they were having a better life when compared to in the earlier days prior to Shivaji Maharaj and stuff like that. Okay, so unfortunately, after Aurangzeb's death, the, the wind has started turning little unfavorable towards Tarabai because to gain the control over the Delhi throne, Aurangzeb's offsprings have started releasing Sambhaji Maharaj's son, who is Sahu Maharaj, from the prison. Remember, I told you that Sambhaji Maharaj was being tortured and killed by Aurangzeb as soon as Shivaji Maharaj died and Aurangzeb occupied the Raigad fort, isn't it? After that, Sahu Maharaj and Sahu Maharaj's wife, mother, were kept in prison in Delhi by Aurangzeb, thinking that one fine day he can show these prisoners and capture the entire Maratha Empire. But unfortunately, that was a very wild dream of Aurangzeb because there is this Tarabai whom he never expected to become like a lioness in the entire kingdom, isn't it? She had made his life miserable, and so Aurangzeb could never fulfill his dream of stepping into Deccan and occupying the Konkan and Deccan regions. Then, when Sahu Maharaj came out of the prison, the wind started turning a little bit unfavorable towards Tarabai. As per Shivaji Maharaj's direction, whoever is the eldest son in the family would get the throne of Maratha Empire. So, obviously, Tarabai had to give off all her powers to Sahu Maharaj, which she had to do. And then the family politics started playing in. The Britishers were luring the Maratha offsprings like Sambhaji too, who is the offspring of second wife of our Raja Ram Bhosale. And some people, Mughals were supporting Sahu Maharaj. Amidst all these family clashes, she was got and she was put into prison by her own relatives in Kolhapur port. For this Tarabai's entire life is dedicated and turning around and in and around Kolhapur fort only. That is how certain lives are being made of, isn't it? And then again, somehow the way the family quarrels started erupted, the similar way they started getting subsided because because of the some wise counseling given by the Peshwas for the Maratha Empire. Peshwas are the ones who are second in command when compared to Chhatrapatis of the Maratha Empire. The kings of Maratha Empire were given the title called Chhatrapatis, isn't it? So, because of this wise counsel, again Tarabai came back to power and she started giving advices to Sahu Maharaj as to how to expand Maratha Empire and how to ensure work towards the benefit of the people and stuff like that. And she died in at a ripe age of 89 years. And that is her story, my dear friends. Nowadays, we can only see Tarabai statue in Kolhapur region, in the Kolhapur city. Except for her statue, we don't see any story or any narration about her in our history textbooks or anywhere else. So I keep wondering, why is it that such a brave warrior queen who had expanded the Maratha Empire all the way, if not till Peshawar, at least till the current Pakistan area, till South India, why is it because that she is just a lady that her adventure, her entire journey as a Maratha queen has been erased from the history? Or is it because the Mughals or Britishers never wanted Indian queens to be known as the warriors? Or is it because of the historians who had written about our history had forgotten that she's just a lady and why should we talk about her? After working so hard in expanding the Maratha Empire and in safeguarding everybody's interest for her own, from her own motherland, she was put into prison by her own offsprings, Sahu Maharaj, even Sambhaji Maharaj, are none other than her stepsons, isn't it? Her own stepsons were not taking care of her properly. This is how the sad state of affairs in Indian country, isn't it, my dear friends? Of course, now you can say that everywhere women are not being treated equally, but I feel somewhere down the line, especially in the history, the women leaders were ignored. Women history has been erased. The moment we talk about women warriors or women queens, we only remember about Jhansi Rani. But there are innumerous people available if you dig deeper into Indian history who has gone beyond their call of duty, who has safeguarded their dynasties or their kingdoms, and who has done very much good for the people and the society around them. Okay, that's how life is. Maybe we'll get somebody else also to dig more deeper into these kind of stories and enlighten us apart from me. Please do let me know if you know anybody else about whom I should talk about in this series. Till then, stay safe and fine. Let us meet tomorrow with another interesting person. Bye bye. Take care.